94. I don't know that even came out at that point.
I have no idea. All right, I think we're ready to go.
All right, rock and roll.
You got one life, for crying out loud. You might as well just give it all you got.
The Deej, Dan Jourdan.
Your daily dose of reality. Your daily dose of the Deej.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I need my daily dose of the Deej.
I make the news. I don't watch the news. I'm a leader.
The Sales Energizer, Dan Jourdan.
Listen, don't worry how to sell, baby. Worry about why people buy. And it's fun.
You don't need a 5-hour energy. All you need is the Sales Energizer.
Just when I think it's not going to be as fun as the one before, each one gets successfully better. Success. What's the word I'm looking for? What's it going to take to get you into this car today, huh?
And now, please welcome the Sales Energizer, Dan Jourdan.
Boom!
That's exactly it. Do that. Let's do that. I'm having too much fun already. I don't know what the heck is going on. You know, I went to go see somebody. I'm just going to jump right in. I apologize. I went to
It's
go
your
see
show.
somebody
You can jump
today.
however you want to jump.
We had a second sales call in person. Gosh, it feels so good to be in person. And he said he had seen a couple of podcasts and he goes, "Hey, do that thing." I go, "What thing?" He goes, "Do that thing." And I go, he goes, "Tell me, say, what's it going to take to get you into this car today, huh?" Like that was his thing. Anyway, I had Chris Stone. How you doing?
I'm living the dream. TGIF. Thank God it's Dan Jourdan on a Friday.
That's right. And you know what I did today? PMOL. Packed my own lunch. You know, I'm telling you. Well, it's like, you know what? You get so much confidence like during the day by packing your own lunch in the beginning. Even if you're working from home, pack your own lunch. And it's like it's like all throughout the day you can nibble. You don't have to get completely starving and take all this time.
Wait a minute. So you pack your own lunch even if you're working from home?
Yeah, it's part of my daily routine. You got to pack a lunch. That's it.
Well, I suppose like if you did that, you'd make less trips to the refrigerator. Because I think if I'm working from home, like I'm trying to find ways to where I don't have to walk by the refrigerator because you're going to pop it open. You're going to probably eat more than you should throughout the day. So that's not a bad idea.
And you're going to eat garbage. I mean, what it forces you to do is to plan your meals without doing it. And so, you know, it's all about being in control. You know, and sometimes you're lucky enough. So here, quick story. I went to see a guy who was a second call after the first call. Now, the first call was a great, really liked each other, gave him a proposal. Everything went well. Then got a call back and he's like, let's have a second meeting. So we had the second meeting and he goes, here's the deal. What you guys offer, it's not something that I want, but I do like you and I like your stuff and I want to figure out a way to work with you. And I'm like, that's exactly the feeling that I had when I met our next guest. I'm thinking to myself, this gal is someone you just want to be close to. If you're thinking about getting into business, you just want to kind of absorb the vibes of the room from talking with her. And so one of those things that you just kind of, throw caution to the wind and say, I wonder if she would, I'm not saying lower herself because Chris Stone, the world best producer, this is, a magic experience for anyone, but just with the hopes that she would say yes. And lo and behold, another gift from the heavens, our next guest agreed to come. And today is the day that we've been waiting for. So without any further ado, please help me welcome my new friend, Melinda Emerson.
I'm so excited to be here. This is awesome.
I love it. Melinda, I love your energy. And, there's only a very few people on the planet when they're introduced on Dan Jourdan Live that don't just raise their hand, because anybody can do this, right? No, you've got You were waving around like you just don't care. And that's how we want to be. Live every day like that. I love it.
I heard the music in my head. That's what I had to give it.
Hey, oh, okay. I love it.
With all of that. So
I tell you what, I feel cooler just being around you. You know, you get that going. No, but it's true. And the reason why, and maybe you could share with this, so I want to find out, share with the audience what you do and how you help people. Obviously, it has to do with small business, but just you coming on the way you come on like that, you're the type of person that commits, like just commits to your success. You're like all in. And I think that's a really big quality when someone's going into entrepreneurship. And do you find that too? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, you know what? The number one reason why people struggle in business is because of failure to implement, right? So it's one thing for you to go to all these trainings, go to webinars, even have a coach. If you're not going to do the stuff, you're going to be in the same place you've always been. And then you're going to start complaining about that. So it's like, you got to be all in. I mean, it's like a smaller version of go big or go home, but it's like, if you're going to put your shingle out, if you're going to say you're open for business and you don't know how to sell, so you call my friend the Deej and you get you some sales support, you get you some sales training. If you're not going to implement what he's teaching you, don't waste his time.
Let's go. Let's go. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, maybe you could help me, coach me a little, because I think you have the same issue. I've known for a while, I'm able to, if I'm really excited about something and excited about your success or what have you, I could kind of transfer that and get you in that moment all revved up. But sometimes that doesn't last, and I kind of know that person's not gonna do. How do you get people to maintain that?
There's a difference between inspiration and motivation, right? Woo. So inspiration is you and I have this great conversation. You give me some great advice. You sprinkle some dust on me and tell me what I'm doing great. And you give me specific ideas of what it could be like if I implement what you're teaching me to do, right? But motivation is an internal clock. Motivation is when you can get up without an alarm clock because you got a purpose clock. You don't need no alarm clock. It's like when you think about your day, people always say, well, have a good day. I actually don't need you to tell me to have a good day because I know what I'm going to bring to that day, right? Because that's how I do everything. So it's really a mentality. It's a motivation. Like motivation comes from mindset. Right. So if you don't have a growth mindset, you're not going to hear somebody's good advice anyway. And then there's people who I call them, they mistake busy work for business. So they run to this training and they run to this coaching and they have this certification and that certification and ain't made a dollar, don't have consistent revenue running through their business. And it's because they're like, there's people that are conference junkies or something. And it's like, no, man, look, at the end of the day, I don't care about how much money you need to make this year. What I care about is how much money you got to make this week. Because if you know how much money you got to make this week, then you know what you got to do to get those phones to ring, how many emails you got to send, how many LinkedIn personal video notes you need to send. Like, a plan because you got to make the cash register ring. And so it's really as simple as that. I think people get caught up in, we're going to do 2.3 million this year. That's great. It's not about what you make. It's about what you keep anyway. So,
my gosh.
I mean, it's like, I'm tired of people, doing all this talking about what they going to do.
Let's not talk ish. Let's do ish, right?
My God. First of all, I don't know if it's right to say I love you on this show, but my gosh, and I'm somewhat exhausted. This is just great. It's just so. I actually, one of my euphemisms is that I say the definition of a business, and people have their own glorified definition of what a business is. Mine's very simple. The definition of a business is having a customer. Because with that customer, you can get everything else. You can get the office, you can get the desk, you can get the marketing thing, all that stuff. But without the customer, you got squat. And so why don't you help with people start on their journey with you?
Mhm.
The first customer or the first 10, or to get that cash flow going. What ideas do you have for them?
Well, the first thing I have two different ways that I support people, right? So
Mhm.
I wrote this little book called Become Your Own Boss in 12 Months, right? I wrote it 15 years ago. It's actually still in print. It's in its third edition with Simon & Schuster. And that book is all about how to transition from having a job to starting a business. So typically people who read that book then call me for startup coaching, or they sign up for one of our courses in Small Biz Lady University, right? Because I've got a lot of courses on how to start, how to grow. I have courses on online marketing, how to sell and market online, social media selling, ultimate guide to email marketing. And these are all courses for my startup folks, right? But who I also love to coach existing entrepreneurs that are ready to grow, or more importantly, existing entrepreneurs that are tired of being exhausted at the end of the day. They're tired of working 80 hours a week. They don't have systems. They don't have a team, right? I love to get those people free from their job. So I wrote this other little book called Fix Your Business, right? Because everybody's business is a little broken, right? And what I did was I created a 12-week accelerator program based on the 12 P's of running a successful business, which is what the Fix Your Business book is all about. And my goal is to take my existing entrepreneurs who have some success and turn them into a business that can run without them. Because that's what real freedom is. When you can make money and you ain't there, when you can go on vacation for a month to Cambodia, like I'm about to do next month, and
let's go.
And your business still be making money, your stuff, your cash register still ringing. That's the victory, right? But a lot of times, particularly a lot of women business owners in particular, but a lot of people start out as solopreneurs, right? They're solopreneurs. They're working out of the back bedroom of their house and they're doing some kind of consulting, whatever. And then they get a contract and then they work in that contract. They not calling nobody. They not sending no emails out. They not trying to get the next gig because they so busy working on that gig. Well, the problem with that is then that gig becomes 2 weeks, 3 weeks from ending, and you don't have anything else in your pipeline. It's called feast or famine. And this stuff happens to people all the time because people do not automate their marketing. People don't set aside 1 day a week to dial for dollars. I tell people all the time, magic happens over the phone. Social media is great, but it's best when you use it to book an appointment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Woo!
Help me
Snap,
somebody.
baby.
Social media is great, but email is trackable. But let me tell you, what you really want is to get somebody on the phone. Rob, it's not.
Hallelujah. I mean, you are preaching to the
I
choir.
was going to say, preaching to the choir. Yeah.
Keep it going. You're absolutely right. Magic happens on the phone when you're talking to people. That's the number one. Talk to more people. So that is your suggestion. It's take a day off from, plan a day.
Either do it 2 hours a day, every day, or take 1 day a week, and that's all you do.
Which way did you do it when you got started?
I did a little bit every day. And I also had another rule with myself. I had to go through 500 business cards a month. Like when my first 2 years I was in business, I was everywhere. Everybody had my card. So I was burning through card. I mean, but again, I've been in business 25 years. So people do business a little different now. But when I first got started, if I wasn't ordering a new box of business cards every month, I did not do my job, right? I did not go meet enough people. I did not talk to enough people. And that was my thing. And to get your name out there when you're first getting started in business, you got to go. You got to get in your car. You got to get on a plane. You got to go see the people where the people are. But the biggest thing to answer the question that you originally asked me, though, the biggest thing that I have to deal with people around is figuring out who their customer actually is. Because I get these people that want to try to boil the ocean. Oh, everybody can use this. What living? If everybody can use it, nobody's using it.
That's right.
Right? People want to hire people who specialize in solving their problem. Right?
Come on.
I tell people all the time, who do you think makes more money? Your primary care physician or your cardiologist, right? Cardiologists drive for robbery, right? So what you got to do is figure out how to be the cardiologist for what you do. Be the best in your industry. Pick a lane and then own your lane. And if you do that, when people call you, they're not having a conversation about whether you can solve their problem. You're having a conversation about availability and price. It's a whole different situation.
Look at that. And
Wow.
Chris Stone didn't want to have you on the show.
Oh,
she
come
said,
on.
This gal's she's going to be a fly on the wall. That's what he said.
Feel free to bust his chops too, Melinda.
I was fighting for you.
I love this for many different reasons, and I want to go back to something that you were talking about with a lot of entrepreneurs going through a contract, working exclusively on a podcast, and not doing any outbound, not doing any way of gathering additional customers, and then when that client's gone and that contract's gone, so you're not called the small you're not called the small job lady. Right? Because what you do, it's business is what you're talking about, right? Yes. And so if you're just creating something and you're doing the work and you're working on that, and then when it's over, you're looking for something else, what you've created for yourself is a job, not a business.
Jobby, right? Michael Gerber coined that phrase. You've created a jobby for yourself. You might as well go back and get a real job, work for somebody, because at least you have better benefits and your health care be paid for. But I think what people don't do is figure out the whole plan, right? I'm a big fan of people figuring out at least 5 revenue streams in a business. It's not one way to make money. It's 5 ways to make money. It's not one piece of content. It's how can we repurpose that content three ways? That's what I want people to do. What are the other stuff you know how to do to make money, right? So I would just break down my 5, just so you know. So I have a marketing consulting firm. We work with Fortune 500 companies that target the small business market. I only do what's called B2SMB marketing. I also have a training and development company called Small Biz Lady Enterprises. We coach and train entrepreneurs, and we specialize in coaching women entrepreneurs. I also write books. I'm also a professional speaker. I also have a monthly membership site called Small Biz Lady Academy, right? So, and I got other stuff, and I'm licensing courseware, and there's all kind of other stuff out here. But those are my top 5 revenue generators.
Yeah, so this is why we're. I may be a little older than you, but I think we follow the same people. The whole idea, the whole Michael Gerber and E-Myth is, when you read that the first time, it's life changing.
Look, best business book I ever read. And I got a chance to see Gerber late last year at a conference in Houston.
He's still going?
27. Jeez. When I tell you this dude still tore up the crowd, I couldn't even believe it, because I was worried they were going to wheel him in there in a wheelchair, right? No, man. They got him a chair. That man sat down, and he took us to school so hard that I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, like, it was amazing. I was like,
they've gotten
killing it.
Those old school guys have gotten wiser, and the different streams of income. Jay Abraham, all day long, he's involved in that. Talking about the account, they talk about the account-based marketing. Go after a particular target like it's something new. David Ogilvy's been doing that since the 50s. I mean, it's all coming back. So it's the basic stuff.
It is.
But because it's so fundamental, nobody does it.
But the part of the problem is, and this is what I see with the people that come to me, is people know how to make their widget. They know how to do whatever it is they know how to do. What they don't know how to do is how to run a business. And a lot of them are scared of sales. A lot of them have hangups about sales. Oh, I don't want to talk pricing with people. Oh, I got to make sure nah, man, you're in business to make money, right? And I think that there's a lot of money mindset work that people have to do so that they can charge enough. The problem is all these people want to charge what they're worth. And I said, don't charge what you're worth because you don't know what you're worth. You charge it too little. If you charge what you're worth, then you definitely on discount. So you got to make sure that you know what the market will bear, but it's not even about what the market will bear. I tell people all the time, what is it worth to you if I solve your problem?
Yeah.
And then the other question I ask them is, well, what are you going to do if you don't hire me?
Woo.
What's your plan B? Because you know I can solve your problem. You're just trying to figure out whether or not you're going to pay me what you need to pay me to fix the problem. But what is your plan B?
Yeah, that's it. If you, I always couch it in, because it always is a personal type of transformation. And so I always say to people, what will happen if you don't make this change?
Right.
I don't know. That's a really good question that gets right into it. But about the money thing, I tell you how I overcome it with my people. I have sales cards. I just like the cards, and so it's like they're on a little ring. And so as you're going through the the discovery call and all that stuff, and then one of the cards just says, this is the one line. So, is it okay if we talk about money now? Boom. And they always say, yeah, sure. But now I'm setting them up.
Not like they're not thinking about it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. Like, how much is this person going to cost me? Right. That's always there.
If you write it down, then you have to say it. If you write it down, it's right there in front of me. I got to say it.
Right.
Sometimes I'll even do that for some people because they still can't do it. I coach them to say this. Hey, my coach told me I have to read this. And then they read it. Is it okay if we talk about the money?
But see, I have to teach my people, though, that you don't talk about money in the first call. Like a lot of times people, instead of doing the discovery call and doing a good job at listening, people want to run them through their presentation. Then, okay, here's how much it costs. I'm like, nah. You got that's the second call. You can't hit people with price when they're sizing up whether or not they want you. Like you gotta. You gotta leave them with a little taste in their mouth, right? You gotta give them a little something. I don't believe in hitting people with price on the first thing unless they specifically ask.
You don't kiss on the first date. Is that what you're trying to do?
So what if they? This is a good question. So what if they specifically ask?
If they specifically ask, I like to give people ranges. I don't like to give people numbers until I'm sending them an actual proposal. And I don't really like to send people proposals. I like to make another appointment to walk them through the proposal. I don't
absolutely. These are great things that people
like that's a great way for somebody to look at it and be like, I can't afford that. No, you got to walk them through the value again while you're delivering what the proposal was. And if they won't meet with you to walk through the proposal, that tells you a lot about how serious they are about solving this problem.
Yeah, amen. Well, so are these things that you help people with on your? Tell me about that coaching program, that membership site that you have. What do people get along with that?
So my one-on-one and high-end group coaching is different from that site. So Small Biz Lady Academy is a site designed for women entrepreneurs. And we have two pathways, how to start and ready to grow, right? And so if you're 2 years or less in business, you are a how to start, right? You ain't a big girl business until you like round in the bend to 3 years, okay? Because it takes 2 years to figure out what you're doing. So if you're 3 years or more, we put you in ready to grow. And ready to grow. So how to start is $47 a month. Ready to grow is $97 a month. And we give out specific training information for where you are at your stage in business, right? And the reason why we separate it is because first graders don't want to be in a class with sixth graders, right? So we make sure that our guys that are just starting have their resources. I have over 35 ebooks that we have updated and redid just for this site. And all of my content is in English and Spanish because we want to make sure that we can serve a global audience. We want to make sure we can serve our Latina entrepreneurs. And I'm really excited. I actually have been learning Spanish for the last 6 months. I got a tutor and everything, man. So I'm getting my Hola Española on, because we want to make sure that we can serve women wherever they are. And we have had so many opportunities, even globally, people have reached out for our training and information. So we're trying to serve as many women as we can. As I mentioned, I'm about to go to Cambodia. State Department sending me to Cambodia to train women entrepreneurs in Cambodia, man. So I'm worldwide, small business.
Hey, I love that. You know what? I love the fact that you're not just talking. You're actually walking, and bilingually. In fact, and I love that. I want to kind of go back a little bit because it pertains to this. Because if someone's watching this, listening to this right now, they're going, "Oh my God, she's doing so much." There's all this stuff, and you talked earlier about somebody who's addicted to going to conferences, and they're consuming all of this stuff, and they're going and they're subscribing to everybody on YouTube and listening to podcasts, but they're not doing. So how do you work with entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, if they speak English or speak Spanish now? How do you work with them to get through that, and start creating more than they consume?
Well, when I start working with a coaching client, either in our group coaching program or if people invest in one-on-one coaching with me, the first thing I do is find out what their goals are, right? I'm not making up goals for people. I want you to tell me what you're trying to accomplish. And then when we meet in our sessions, I'm holding you accountable to the stuff you said you were going to do, right? So it's not a matter of you said you were going to get X number of sales by 3 months, or you said you were going to hire a new salesperson, or you said you were going to build a business plan for this new initiative you want to launch, whatever, right? If you tell me that's your goal, I'm on you like white on rice trying to find out what's going on. And of course, if I'm the small biz lady, right? I've been in business for 25 years. I may know a resource or two to help you out. I want you to send it back to me in draft form. You want me to look at it, right? This isn't a one-way kind of a thing, but my goal is if you're not winning, I'm not doing my job as a coach. But if you're not coachable, I'm not going to coach you either. Because look, I'm busy. I don't have time for people. Even everybody's money isn't good money. So I make you do an assessment before I even agree to coach you. Because I got to make sure we're on the same page, because I'm a tough coach. Everybody can handle a tough coach.
Well, what are some of the flags for people you can't coach?
If they've got a lot of excuses, people that make a whole bunch of excuses, I don't really got a lot of time for excuses.
So give me an example of one of the tasks that they're in a business themselves. They're kind of just limping along. They basically own their job and they want to get to that next level and stuff. And what would be one of the exercises you would have them work on in a week? They would come back and report to you.
Well, one of the things that I like to do with my folks is a lot of times people get mixed up between queen bee work and worker bee work. So one of the first things I make them do is make a list of the daily, weekly, monthly tasks that they do. And then I go back and say, okay, so if I hired you, how much is your time worth? Like, what is it, $250 an hour? Okay. All right. So let's look at this list of tasks that you put here. And I say, how many of the tasks on your list can be done by somebody for $30 an hour or less? And they say 40%. I said, okay, so tell me why you're still doing them. Because you need to be working on your most high value activities, and putting your data into QuickBooks probably is not one of them, right? So how can we get you a part-time virtual assistant that can offload some of this administrivia stuff you're doing so that you can focus on sales? Because most people's problem is revenue. Most people's problem is sales. It's like calling customers, keeping customers. Because one of the things that irks me a lot of times about small businesses, whether they're retail or e-commerce or whatever, is they let people buy from them once. They do not have a mechanism to keep their customers. They don't effectively use email to nurture relationships, to turn their customers into advocates for their brand, into an unpaid sales force for their brand. And I am super big on that, because an existing customer is 60 to 65% more likely to buy from you. I mean, a new customer is only going to close 5 to 20% of the time. So who is more valuable to you? Wait for it. Your existing customers, right?
Absolutely right. I've used that same phrase about unpaid sales force. That's great. Yeah, no, that's of course, perfect advice to people. How long is your basic projects last with people? Is it an ongoing? Is it do people get moved into like a group call? How long do people generally stay with you?
So typically, I won't even coach someone who won't invest at least 3 months in coaching, because I can't solve your problem on one call. I mean, I'm amazing, but I can't solve your problem on one call, right? So I need some time to help you develop some new habits, right? So you have to coach at least 3 months to do one-on-one coaching with me. If you're in our high-end group coaching program, How to Become a Brand in Demand, that's actually a 4-month coaching program, and you're with me every week, every other week live. Like you're on live with me in a small group. We don't let that group be more than about 10, 15 ladies. And then if you're in our academy program, if you're in Small Biz Lady Academy, I do live Q&As with those guys at least once a month. And sometimes I pop in and do more, but so they get access to me too, but it's at a little bit, everybody can't afford, what it costs to coach with me. So I try to make myself available. But the awesome thing is I've been coaching entrepreneurs for 16 years. Do you know how much content I have? You know how many webinars, ebooks, blog posts that I have? It's insane. So we've repackaged all of that material to make it real valuable to people. And then we have our courses in Small Biz Lady University. And what we did was everybody who's a member of the academy, we get them 33% off the courses. So nobody's paying full price. If you're a member of the academy, I'm trying to take care of you all the way around. So then you get access to Small Biz Lady University for 33% off if you're an academy member. So
I love this.
Yeah. So that's what I'm to serve people.
I really love, actually, I do like the fact that you specialize with women and all that. And so my question is not to say, hey, why not men and all that. My question is,
I get that question all the time.
Even though he really just asked it, but it's
okay. No. I get that question all the time.
I don't care about that. That does, because I love the fact, because I like men's group. Listen, you can be in a room with 100 men. One lady walks in, everybody acts differently. And so I love the idea of the sexes being in different groups. That sounds good. But my question is, what differences do you see? Like, why is there a difference in the business world? Do you see with
because
women?
I think women have different issues than men have. And
go ahead, spill some tea.
First of all, most women are out here doing 3 full-time jobs, right? There's somebody's wife, there's somebody's mom, and then they're trying to run this business. And they're trying to be amazing at all of those things. And there's a lot of pressure we put on ourselves, especially those of us that are, divorced single moms like myself. Like my son just went to college. Like I just dropped him off like 2 weeks ago. So for me, it's like I can finally stop feeling mom guilt on a regular basis, because anytime you drop a ball for this kid, you're like, oh, am I the worst mom in the world? No. But there's a lot of pressure. There's my dude. There's my man, 50 grand right there. My baby Jojo. He's 6 feet tall and size 14, but I still call him my baby. Whatever. Anyway, but my point is that it's a lot being somebody's mom, being somebody's wife or significant other, and trying to run your business and trying to be, and a lot of times people feel like it's 1, 2, 3. Well, when you're a woman business owner, you got to do 1, 2, 3. And sometimes you got to do all those things in a day. And that's hard. And then sometimes we as women have self-esteem issues. We have mindset issues because we're so hard on ourselves. Man, that's negative self-talk. That chick, that inner, obnoxious roommate, she can do a job on us. We make one mistake and we think we're the dumbest people in the whole world, right? So I think there's a lot of confidence work that I have to do with ladies. There's a lot of, how to be a great mompreneur conversations that we have to have, and how sometimes you got to get to the point where you're like, you know what, fuck them kids. You got to do, right? I think that for me, because I have done these things, right? Because I'm coming up on 26 years in business. I've done it all. I ran my business for 5 years before I had my son, and I did that on purpose. And I talk to young women about, your business is your first baby, and having 2 babies at the same time, that is hell. So be careful about doing that, So, and we talk about what kind of spouse is the right spouse for a boss chick, right? We got to have them conversations sometimes, because some dudes get intimidated by these chicks with these businesses. Some guys are so risk averse, they just really secretly are praying that you would just go back and get a job. Like, how do you handle that dude, right? So there's a lot of stuff that ladies are dealing with, men are not dealing with.
Wow.
That is awesome. You see, I love it even more. It's like, well, how do you teach because I have opinions on this. How do you teach women to sell to men? Because when I'm talking to my guys, sometimes it's different. You got to act differently to sell to women, that type of thing. Do you have any opinions on that? And it's okay if you don't.
Well, you know what? I think you have to know what kind of animal you're dealing with, right? So I think you have to understand something about disc profiles and, understand the personality that you're dealing with. Like, I'm a DI, right? I'm a high DI. So I am just as aggressive as a dude is, right? So I can totally sell to a dude. But if you're a lady that is a C, right? You're not as aggressive. You're not as assertive. So I have to give you different strategies for selling to a DI than if you're selling to another C. Because D's understand each other, C's understand each other. When a C's got to go sell to a D, they got to know how to do that, because that's not, you got to understand, if you're dealing with somebody that don't have time and they're looking down and they're not even looking at you, how are you going to get their attention?
You got to dial that D up, right?
Yeah.
Right?
So that's right.
You can be a situational D, right? I tell you, got to be, look, you got to play. I tell my people, they got to get their music. They got to hype themselves up. I tell people, you put you some Cardi B on, right? You hype yourself up and you get on that Zoom call and you close that man. Let's go.
Dan like always listens to Cardi B. I can't get him to stop listening to Cardi B before we go live.
Yeah.
Melinda, it's a problem. So we need to find him can you find him another playlist?
I mean, look, he can do Money, Money, Money by the OJs if that works.
I tell
That's
you
more
what,
his speed.
I think you're absolutely right. I want to understand that this is great what you're doing that, because I believe you are a DI. I am too.
Oh, that's why we get along. Damn, why do you think I love you? It's like, first of all, man, come on. Like, DI recognizes DI, right?
It's like I literally,
oh my God.
I want to be punched in the face. Like, I want somebody to come and say, "Hey, you got to do this."
Those for breakfast. What?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? But that's DI, right? We got high confidence,
right?
ego.
But here's the thing: you're also feminine. You're also, you're all woman, and that's good, and you play that too. I love it.
Absolutely.
Because that is a problem.
Act like a man or look like him. I think in the 80s and 90s, people taught us that, right? When we first got out of college, it was like, you had to wear these pants, dark colored pants, to blend in, kind of look like a man. I think all that stuff is gone now. Now people appreciate ladies that look good, smell good, know who they are, walk with confidence. You know what I mean? So I think that it's okay. I'm secretly a little bit of a glamazon, right? But I definitely am not so caught up in that I'm not caught up in my expertise. I think we've had a shift, particularly because of the Instagram culture. There are these people who sell based on, if you want to live like me, coach with me. If you want to drive a car like me, coach. If you want to take private planes like I do, coach with me. I think that's disgusting. And I am not willing to sell like that. I am never going to show anybody what kind of car I drive. I am never going to walk around my house and show people how fabulous my house is, because that ain't none of your business. I don't want you to know that much about me. But if you want to know about how to be successful in business, let me just give you a stat. Only 3% of Black women businesses in the US make it past 3% make it past 5 years in business. I've been in business.
3% of Black women business. Is that what you said?
Black women businesses in the United States, only 3% make it past 5 years in business.
Wow.
So what about the people that coach with you?
Oh, well, of course, that's not the case with the people that coach with me. But what I'm saying is, so how I justify myself to people is 25 years, baby. 25 years. Like, I got a best-selling book that's been in print for 15 years, a nonfiction business book. I want you to name 10 other books like that were written by a woman in the United States. You can't, right? So that's my point, right? So, like, I don't have to, like, I don't really have to prove that I can solve your problem. What you have to prove to me is that you're worthy of my time, that you can pay for it, right? That's the conversation we gotta have.
God, is this woman terrific? You know,
I'm still blown away by the stat. Why do you think that is? Can you? I mean,
I can tell you exactly why.
Okay, please.
Exactly why. Lack of training and mentorship, lack of access to capital, lack of access to opportunity, right? We just don't have the networks. We don't have access to the corporate and government contracts. We don't have the training. A lot of times women of color are starting businesses because they got mistreated in corporate America somewhere. So they didn't have a time to plan. They just had to leave. They took what little package or severance they could get and left and said, okay, I'm going to start this business. Other people do plan, but if you don't have access to opportunity, if you don't know what you know, if you don't know you need to hire a coach, right? If you're not reading the right books, if you're not going to the right conferences, if you're only leveraging the free resources out here, how much help are you going to get?
Yeah.
There's a reason those people, nothing against small business development centers and SCORE and those guys, but that's hit or miss how the quality of the training that you get in some of those environments. So I think that for women of color who have fewer resources, right? They might.
Well, what do you mean by resources?
I mean, like money to start their business, to grow their business. That's what I mean by resources. Money.
Okay. Well, I know, but some people, there's human resources too.
Well, there is human resources. So they don't have money to hire the kind of staff they need. So these guys are almost always bootstrapping with whatever resources they have, with whatever network they have. But
and I think it's cultural. I think it's cultural too. There are certain business communities, the Indian community, they're all in business, and so that family stuff is there. The Jewish community is another one. Growing up, I didn't know anybody who had a job. I mean,
right, because everybody was an entrepreneur, right? But see, Black communities is not like that. In Black communities, you're taught to go to college so you can get you a job. Or go to the military so you can pay for college so you can eventually get you a good job. So entrepreneurship is during segregation, there was bursting Black entrepreneurship. But once segregation was eliminated in the 60s, then everybody started shopping with everybody. So the Black store, corner store in your neighborhood, when you can now finally go to Walmart and 7-Eleven, why would you go there, right? Because they have better variety, because they have more resources to have more stuff on the shelf, right? So there was a time when Black entrepreneurship was amazing, because it had to be, because white folks wouldn't do business with us. But, that was 70 years ago. So now we're in a situation where, not 70, it's less than that. But anyway, my point is, it's harder because they're the insular nature. Black people are not monolithic in the United States. We're different. And the immigrants act different than, Black people who grew up here. There's long-term vestiges of slavery. There's lots of reasons. But education has a lot to do with it. Only 28% of African Americans in the United States have a college degree. Right. So, so there's reasons why people don't have access to information access to resources and access to opportunity. A lot of other types of people, might have a spouse that's got a great job and a great network that can help them.
Mhm.
A lot of people of color, single moms out here doing it all,
I
so it's
I actually really enjoy this conversation. This is great. I'm learning stuff here. There is you. I mean, you are everything, and I was about to say and a ball of wax. I don't know where that came from, but you're
I don't think we
everything.
can say that anymore.
But
Can we
but
say
there's
that?
there's a lot of wisdom coming
Yeah.
out of this. I mean, it's couched in your personality, but man, this is someone who works with you is in the right place. I really appreciate this. This is great. And you
I like
mentioned,
to think so. I like to think I'm
yeah,
a good coach, right?
yeah,
I mean, listen,
uh,
I'm a young lady. My favorite story, my favorite story of a woman that I coach. She came to me. She was 6 months pregnant. She had an e-commerce business online. And she said to me, look, I have to reorganize my business so that I can actually be off and have an actual maternity leave. But I kind of got a spaghetti Western mess going on up in my business. Can you help me reorganize my business, before my baby gets here? And I did. I helped her streamline her operations, move people around, stop paying these consultants for this, get an in-house person to take over this. And she was just at about $1 million when we started working together. She took off her time to have her baby. When she came back, her business that year she had her baby made $6 million. They made the Inc. 5000 list. She was one of the rising stars of the Inc. 5000. That's my favorite. I mean, I have lots of amazing people that I've coached, but that's my favorite. That's my superstar, Miss Nicole Snow. That's my girl. And
Shout out to Nicole. That's awesome.
Nicole Snow. What's her business? Watch the magic that happens once you mention her business. Watch this.
So her business is darngoodyarn.com. She's so
darngoodyarn.com,
She's
which
so
is cool. So let me ask you, while the magic happens, how did you become part of the 3%? Like, what was your story to get you decided to get into business and take this path?
You know what? I think it was just sheer will, right? Plus, I was really young when I got started in business. I started my business when I was 26 years old. And so what I knew was that I knew how to tell good stories, but I didn't know how to run a business. So I literally turned myself into the most amazing student of business. I mean, I read everybody's book. I went to a lot of conferences. I invested in leadership training. I went up to Dartmouth to an executive MBA program. I actually went back and got my executive MBA, so I became a student. Like, I almost treated it, my first degree is in journalism. My original career was at a broadcast television producer. And what I can tell you is I treated it like a journalism story. Like, I treated it like I was doing investigative research for myself to learn how to be good at it. And about 9 years into my business, I realized that I didn't love doing my business. My first business was a video production company. And I was like, after I got pregnant with my son, I actually got put on bed rest for 6 months. I literally went from being the worst workaholic you ever met to being at home, barely able to raise my voice above a whisper to anyone. And it was terrible. And this was before Wi-Fi was in people's homes. So get in the time machine with me and go back to 2005. Wi-Fi didn't get into people's houses until 20.
You probably still had a phone with a cord that was all.
I had a Palm 3 cell phone. It was horrible. But my point is that while I was home, it was the first time I had ever stopped moving in my business. It was the first time I had ever not woken up on go, right? I got to make the donuts. I got to hit this payroll. Back then my then husband had quit his full-time job and joined our business full-time. So our family's entire income was coming out of my business. And then I got pregnant and got put on bed rest. And it was like kind of a nightmare. And I almost lost my business the year that I was pregnant. But God is so good, because he gave me my next idea while I was home. I started taking all these notes about all the expensive lessons that I had learned. And that eventually became my best-selling book, Become Your Own Boss in 12 Months. And none of that would have happened had I not been sent home without Wi-Fi. Like I couldn't work.
Mhm.
But I tell you, I think the reason why my book has done so well is because I'm not the hero at the end of every story. I tell the truth about a bunch of dumb, expensive lessons that I had the opportunity to learn. And I think people really appreciate that. I think it's one of those things where people are like, these people write these 50,000 feet books like, oh,
Yeah.
this is how we built it. Nah, man, I wrote a book from the bottom up. Like I wrote a book that was like, look, this is what I did. Don't do this. And then I also wrote about other entrepreneurs that I knew and different things that they had gone through. And I've had the opportunity twice to update this book. So every time I learn something, I throw it in the book, right? So as I have grown, this book has grown and it has done really well. It's sold over 100,000 copies worldwide in multiple languages around the world. So
Amazing.
I just tell you that, when I was home, I felt lost. I didn't know what I was supposed to do next. And I started praying, and God gave me a vision in a dream 3 times to become America's #1 small business expert. And then he moved every mountain out of my way to make it happen. Because even my book, I didn't have an agent. I didn't have a book proposal. I had 4 chapters in a table of contents and a media kit about myself, and my publisher bought my book. And now when I know about getting book deals, that never would happen now.
Yeah.
Never. I sent it to 1 publisher and they bought it. So all I can tell you is becoming the small biz lady, becoming a coach. My mission is to end small business failure. It is literally my life's work. And I love doing it.
I can tell. Yeah. That's what I love about doing this show is when people like you come on and it's live and what you have is Melinda Emerson. This is not some manufactured AI version that's been an over-edited video of whatever. This is her, and your passion absolutely comes through. Great work. Love it.
That's excellent. We learned from that. So if you had to leave the audience with a special, get started type of thing, someone, people get excited about building this life for themselves. You kind of created your own opportunity, and you're showing that it's possible just by surrounding yourself with, people are the sum total of the people that they hang around with and the books that they read. And you put yourself in that. You were the small biz lady before you were the small biz lady. It started in your head and you were there. And so somebody else is listening to this.
It started in my head, and then when I went to Twitter and couldn't get my name, it became who I became because I could not get my name, Melinda Emerson, on Twitter back in 2008. I couldn't get my name. Some other chick had gotten my name. But I own melindaemerson.com, so she knows who I am. She knows about me.
In your face, other Melinda Emerson.
Well, that's awesome. And what'd you think of Chris Stone, huh? Did I tell you every time you mention something, the book comes out?
Listen, I love Chris Stone. He's amazing. But you're really my heart, Deej. You really are. You are a kindred spirit. You're my brother from another mother.
That's right. I said. By the way, I packed my own lunch this morning because I know my wife is busy. I'm taking care of it.
Well, it's good that you can take care of yourself at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the reason why I have to have a girls' club because I have to talk about husbands like you.
That's true. You gotta
train these people early. You can't be.
You gotta have me as a guest speaker at one of your meetings. I can come in there
on my podcast. We're gonna get you on the Small Biz Chat, so we're gonna get you.
Okay, we'll do that. Well, this is great. Well, I can't thank you enough for really coming on. You are the reason why we play around with this show. You've reignited my enthusiasm, which is a tough thing to do. By the way, in the morning, you talked about Cardi B, and I apologize. For $1 billion, I couldn't pick her out of a lineup or sing a song.
That's a shocker, Dan.
But I what I do, and you talked about, that God helped you with this. Every morning when I write my, things that I'm doing, the time I have my alone time, and it's with, if this morning I was sitting out in my backyard, it's with Beethoven and the birds, and I listen to Beethoven, and with one ear, and the other ear is open, and I hear the birds in the morning, and that's where I find God. That's where I find inspiration. That just pumps me up for the day. And it really does. That mindset, I guess this is full circle, that mindset that you put yourself in, to accept, be grateful for all that you have, and be revved up to, to take whatever is available for you that day, will just never let you down. Never let you down. Today's the best day of my life, and I got to share it with you, Melinda Emerson. So thank you so much. Smallbusinesslady.com. Chris Stone, once again, you outdo yourself on a regular basis. I can't believe it. By the way, for those watching, he's available if you want to have a podcast slightly less good as this one. He will hook you up. He'll take care
You
of
almost landed the plane there. You almost landed the plane. Also, it's smallbizladyuniversity.com. And for those of you who are of what Melinda explained way more eloquently than I can, there's also Small Biz Lady University, as well as
Small Biz Lady Academy.
Small Biz Lady Academy. Thank you. But that is found at smallbizladyuniversity.com/academy. So there we go. I apologize for fumbling over that, but smallbizladyuniversity.com/academy.
Yeah.
There we
Well,
go.
that was awesome. And for all you watching, I wish nothing but good things to happen to you all for the rest of your lives. Eat well, live long and prosper, and just go get them today. Talk to you.